It was just another mining day on planet EOS 9, a rocky world far from Earth. The sky was gray, the wind was cold, and the ground was hard like stone. But beneath that surface, something ancient waited to be found. A team of miners had been digging for neutronite, a rare mineral used in spaceship engines. It was valuable and hard to find. That's why humans were here, far from Earth, working under harsh conditions. As they drilled deeper than ever before, their machines hit something strange. Not rock, not metal. Something organic. They called in scientists. After days of careful digging, they uncovered a massive object. It looked like a cocoon, but it was huge, almost 6 meters tall. Its surface shimmered with soft light, like fireflies, trapped inside. It pulsed slowly, as if alive. No one knew what it was, but everyone agreed. It wasn't made by humans. News spread fast. Governments got involved. Experts flew in from Earth and other colonies. The cocoon was moved to a secure lab on EOS Station, a floating base orbiting the planet. Inside the station, the cocoon sat in a large room filled with machines, lights, and cameras. Scientists worked around the clock. They scanned it, tested it, and tried to open it, but nothing worked, until someone whispered the right words. Captain Rhea Kale, head of security at the station, stood near the cocoon. She was a strong woman, used to danger and mystery. She studied the glowing shell with sharp eyes. "We've tried everything," she said. "Lasers, drills, even sound waves. Nothing gets through." Dr. Anwar Malik, the lead scientist, nodded. He was tired but excited. "It's not just a container," he said. "It's a prison, or maybe a vault. Whatever is inside was meant to stay hidden." "Or protected," Rhea added. She stepped closer. The cocoon pulsed gently, like it could. "Feel her presence then," Dr. Malik spoke up again. "There's something else," he said. "We found markings, ancient alien writing. It says..." He paused. "What?" Rhea asked. "It says, initiate protocol, reawaken human." Silence filled the room. "Human?" Rhea repeated. "Yes," Malik said. "This thing was built for one of us." They ran more tests. Inside the cocoon, they saw a figure. A man, fully dressed in old military gear. His face was peaceful, like he was sleeping, but his body showed no signs of aging, no decay. He looked like he had fallen asleep. "Yesterday, how long has he been in there?" Rhea asked. Malik checked the data. "At least 300 years, he said. Everyone gasped. "That's impossible," Rhea said. "Not if he was kept in perfect stasis," Malik replied. "And this cocoon? It's still active, still working." They tried to wake him, but the cocoon would not open. It ignored every attempt, until one night when the station was quiet. Rhea stood alone in front of the cocoon. Everyone else had gone to sleep. Only the hum of machines filled the air. She stared at the glowing shell, at the man inside. "I don't know who you are," she whispered, "but we need answers." She leaned closer, her voice dropped to almost nothing. "We're losing again." At first nothing happened. Then the cocoon shivered. A low hum filled the room. Lights blinked. Machines beeped wildly. The cocoon began to glow brighter, faster. Then with a soft hiss, it opened. A cloud of mist poured out. Cold air rushed into the room. And from inside a hand moved. The man was waking up. Within minutes, alarms rang across the station. Scientists and guards ran into the room. Cameras zoomed in. Weapons were raised, but the man didn't attack. He didn't scream. He simply opened his eyes. His eyes were deep blue, and for a moment, they glowed. He sat up slowly, looked around. His breath came back in short bursts. "Where?" he said, voice rough from centuries of silence. "Am I?" Rhea stepped forward. "You're aboard EOS Station," she said carefully. "You've been asleep for over 300 years. The man blinked. Then he looked down at himself. "My suit, it's still intact," he said. "That's good." He tried to stand, His legs shook, but he managed. "What's your name?" Rhea asked. He looked at her, thought for a second. "Captain Elias Vance," he said. UNSS Dauntless. The name meant nothing to them. There was no record of a ship called Dauntless, not in any database. "You served Earth?" Malik asked. Elias frowned. "Yes," he said. "But not the Earth, you know." They exchanged confused looks. Before anyone could ask more questions, something strange happened. A nearby AI drone, normally used for cleaning and maintenance, turned toward Elias. Its red eye lit up, and then it attacked. It shot forward, aiming, straight for his head. Elias ducked fast, too fast. His movements were smooth, precise, as if he had done this before. The drone crashed into a wall. Sparks flew. "Stop!" Rhea shouted. But the drone ignored her. It attacked again. Elias grabbed a tool off a table and swung it like a weapon. He knocked the drone down with one hit. Silence returned. Everyone stared at him. "What the hell was that?" Rhea asked. Elias looked at the broken drone, then at them. "I think," he said slowly, "I think I'm not the only one who remembers me." Over the next few hours, Elias was taken to a medical bay. He passed every test. No injuries, no illness, just perfect health. But there was something else. When doctors tried to scan his brain, the machine froze. Then it started speaking in an alien language. They couldn't understand it. But Elias could. He translated it without thinking. "It's asking if I'm ready to wake up fully." Rhea looked at him. "Does that mean you're not awake yet?" Elias smiled faintly. "I'm awake enough to know we're in trouble." Later that night, Elias sat alone in his room. He looked out the window at the stars. He remembered flashes, battlefields, voices, screams. A war he couldn't quite place. And then, darkness. He remembered being locked away, not punished, not forgotten, protected. Someone, or something, had put him in that cocoon for a reason. And now, after 300 years, he was awake again because they needed him, because they were losing again, and because whatever he had fought once, it was coming back. Elias Vance stood alone in the observation room looking out at the stars. The lights of EOS Station glowed softly behind him. His body felt strong, but his mind was full of fog. Memories came in pieces, flashes of battle, strange ships, voices that weren't quite human. He remembered a war, a desperate one, and he had fought it. But who had he been? And more importantly, who had he fought against? The next morning, Elias sat across from Captain Rhea Kale and Dr. Anwar Malik in a small meeting room. The walls were plain, the table cold metal. No decorations, just function. "You said you remember a war," Rhea began. Elias nodded slowly. "Yes, but not all of it." "Who were you fighting?" Malik asked. Elias looked down. Then he spoke with quiet certainty. "The Virex." Rhea and Malik exchanged looks. "Never heard of them," she said. "They're real," Elias replied. Or they were. He told them what little he could remember. Back in the early 2100s, Earth had just begun to explore faster-than-light travel. The first deep space missions had returned with strange findings, signals from far systems, ruins on dead planets. Some scientists believed humanity wasn't alone. Then came the attack. A fleet unlike anything humans had ever seen. Ships made of bone and metal. Beings without faces, speaking in pulses of thought. The Virex didn't come to conquer. They came to consume. Not just land or resources, but minds. They infected people, turned them into parts of a hive. Elias had been part of the last human resistance. He had led a mission to stop them. But something had gone wrong. That's where the memory ended. Until now. Later that day, Elias was taken to the lab again. Scientists wanted to run tests to see if there was anything different about him. They found plenty. His blood showed signs of genetic tampering, something alien mixed into his DNA. His brain scans were even stranger. It was like two minds lived inside him. One human, one unknown. What does this mean? Rhea asked. Dr. Malik looked shaken. It means he didn't just fight the Virex, he said. He absorbed part of them. Elias frowned. You're saying I'm part of them? No, Malik said. Not exactly. You resisted. Somehow your mind stayed human, but their tech is still in you. Elias looked at his hands. They were steady, normal, but he could feel something beneath the skin, like a whisper behind his thoughts. I can hear things, he admitted. Feel things, like the station is alive. That might be because it is, Malik said. To you. That night, Elias couldn't sleep. He walked through the halls of EOS Station thinking, trying to piece together the past. As he passed a maintenance corridor, he stopped. Something pulled at him, a feeling he couldn't explain. He stepped closer to the wall, placed his hand on it. At once the lights flickered, a soft hum filled the air. Machines nearby turned on by themselves. Warnings blinked on panels. Elias gasped and pulled his hand back. The machines quieted. He stared at the wall. What are you doing to me? He whispered. The next morning, a message arrived from the outer colonies. A distress signal. A swarm of unknown origin had attacked 3 human settlements near the edge of explored space. Survivors reported massive ships, organic and fast. People were disappearing, not killed, but simply gone. One word kept appearing in survivor reports. Virex. The name sent shockwaves through the Galactic Union. No one knew what the Virex were, but now they were attacking again, and Elias was the only one who remembered them. Captain Rhea called for a meeting. We need answers, she said. Now. Elias sat at the table with her, along with Dr. Malik and several high-ranking officers. You say the Virex infect minds? One officer asked. How do we stop them? Elias leaned forward. They don't just take over, he said. They replace you, your thoughts, your memories. They rewrite everything. If you get too close, you start to forget who you are. How did you survive? Another officer asked. Elias hesitated. I don't know, he said. I should have been lost, but something inside me fought back. He looked at Malik. There's more, isn't there? Malik nodded. We ran more tests, he said. Your neural pathways aren't normal. It's like your brain is running 2 programs at once. One human, one Virex. Elias closed his eyes. So I'm not just remembering the Virex, he said. I'm still connected to them. Silence filled the room. If that's true, Rhea said, then maybe you're not just a witness. She looked at him. Maybe you're the weapon we never knew we had. Later that day, Elias was allowed to speak with a captured Virex drone. It was locked in a containment chamber, a tall, thin figure covered in black armor. Its face was smooth, featureless. No mouth, no eyes. Just a dark mask. Elias stood outside the glass. The drone didn't move. Then Elias spoke. I remember you, he said. The drone twitched. Elias stepped closer. I remember the war. I remember what you tried to do. The drone tilted its head. Slightly, then something happened. Its posture changed. Not aggressive, not calm, just confused. Malik watched the monitors. Heartbeat rising, he said. Brainwave activity spiking. This shouldn't be possible. Elias took a breath. You don't have to follow anymore, he said. You can choose. The drone suddenly dropped to its knees. Then it spoke. For the first time since capture, its voice was broken, like a machine trying to sound human. Free, it whispered. Am I free? Everyone stared. Elias stepped back. I think I just gave it a choice, he said. Word spread fast. The Virex were back, but so was Elias. And somehow, he could turn their own kind against them. Rhea approached him later that night. You're not just a soldier, she said. You're a key. Elias looked at her. To what? To stopping them, she said. before they erase us all? He nodded. I'll help, he said, but I need to understand what I am first. Rhea smiled. Then, let's find the truth. Far away in the cold silence of space, something ancient stirred. The Virex had felt Elias awaken, and they feared him, because for the first time in centuries, they had met a human who could not be controlled, a human who remembered, and who was ready to fight again. Elias Vance stood on the observation deck of EOS Station. Below him, Earth's colonies stretched across space like stars scattered by a giant's hand, but his thoughts were far away, on the Virex and the war that had never truly ended. He had spent the last few days under constant study. Scientists wanted to understand what made him different, why he could resist the Virex, and more importantly, why they feared him now. Dr. Malik called it adaptive immunity. Elias wasn't just immune to the Virex mind control, he was a virus to it. His presence disrupted their network, made them question, made them hesitate, made them think for themselves, and that was dangerous, not for humans, for the Virex. Captain Rhea Kyle entered the room with a datapad in her hand. Her face was serious. We've confirmed it, she said. The Virex are moving again. Elias turned to her. How many colonies have fallen? 3 so far, she replied. But others are reporting strange behavior. Ships disappearing, then reappearing. Fighting for us instead of against us. Elias raised an eyebrow. They're turning? Rhea nodded. Since you spoke to that drone, something has changed. The Virex aren't as unified as they used to be. Elias looked out. At the stars, I didn't change them, he said. I gave them a choice. And now they're making it, Rhea said. She handed him the datapad. This is from our deep space scouts, she explained. They found a Virex ship floating near the edge of the frontier. It wasn't attacking, it was broadcasting. What was it saying? Elias asked. Nothing we could understand, Rhea said. Except one word, repeated over and over. Elias waited. Human, she said. He closed his eyes. It was happening. The Virex were no longer sure who they were fighting, because for the first time, they had met someone who couldn't be controlled. Someone like him. Later that day, Elias was brought before the Galactic Union Council via secure link. Dozens of leaders watched him through screens. Some were curious, others were afraid. You say this ability of yours can stop the Virex? One leader asked. Elias nodded. It doesn't. Destroy them, he said. It frees them. Another leader frowned. That's not how wars are won, she said. We need weapons, not ideas. Elias leaned forward. The Virex don't fight like other enemies, he said. They don't care about land or power. They want control, total control. If you try to beat them with force alone, you'll lose. Looked at each screen. But if I go into the heart of their fleet, he continued, if I broadcast what it means to be free, to think your own thoughts, make your own choices, I can break their unity from the inside. Silence followed. Then Captain Rhea spoke up. He's right, she said. We've already seen it work. Once. If we give him the chance, he can do it again. One of the council members shook his head. You're asking us to send one man into the enemy's strongest point, he said. That's suicide. Elias smiled faintly. Maybe, he said. But it's the only way. Preparations began immediately. A small strike team was formed. Volunteers from across human space stepped forward. Pilots, engineers, soldiers. All knew the mission might kill them, but they believed in Elias. They believed in what he represented. Hope. The team was given a fast ship, the CSS Aegis, a light frigate built for stealth and speed. It wasn't the biggest ship in the fleet, but it was fast enough to get close, and that was all they needed. As they trained, Elias worked with Dr. Malik to understand his abilities better. They discovered that his connection to the Virex network wasn't just passive. He could push thoughts into it, memories, feelings, emotions. I remember my sister, Elias said during one test. Her laugh, her smile. When I focus on those memories, the machines react. Malik stared at the readings. You're not just sending signals, he said. You're sharing humanity. Elias looked at him. That's the real weapon, he said. Not strength, not fear, just being human. Malik nodded slowly. If we amplify that signal, he said, we could flood the Virex network with everything we are. Music, art, love, pain, choice. Elias smiled. They won't know what hit them. The night before launch, Elias stood alone in the hangar bay. He looked at the CSS Aegis, its dark hull gleaming under the lights. Soon, he would be flying into the unknown. Rhea approached quietly. You ready? She asked. Elias nodded. As I'll ever be. She studied his face. You don't have to do this, she said. We can find another way. There isn't one, Elias said. This is what I was kept alive for. That cocoon. It wasn't a prison. It was a message. A message from who? Elias looked at her. From the people who knew the Virex would come back, he said. And that when they did, humanity would need someone who remembered how to fight them. Rhea sighed. Well, she said. You're not going alone. Elias turned to her. What? I'm coming with you, she said. So are the others. He smiled. You always were stubborn. She smirked. And you always were lucky. The next morning, the CSS Aegis launched. Its destination, the edge of known space. Its mission, to enter the heart of the Virex swarm. Its weapon, one man who remembered what it meant to be human and the truth he carried inside him. Far away, in the cold darkness between stars, the Virex gathered. They felt the shift. Something was coming. Something they could not control. And for the first time in centuries, the Virex were afraid. Because the human had returned. And he was bringing freedom with him. The CSS Aegis flew through deep space like a shadow among stars. Its engines were silent, its hull dark. The crew was small but ready. Inside the cockpit, Captain Rhea Kale kept her eyes on the screen. The Virex swarm was ahead, massive, moving, alive. Elias Vance sat beside her, calm. We'll only get one shot at this, she said. I know, Elias replied. We don't need more. Behind them, the rest of the team prepared for entry, weapons checked, suits sealed, minds focused. They weren't going to fight a normal battle. They were going to break the Virex from the inside out. And it all started with Elias. Hours later, the ship dropped out of stealth mode. It passed through the outer edge of the swarm unnoticed until it didn't. A signal pulsed across space. Something had detected them. Then came the response. Dozens of Virex ships turned toward the CSS Aegis, forming a wall of bone-like metal and glowing eyes. They know we're here, Rhea said. Good, Elias said. That's the point. He stood up. It's time. The plan was simple. Crash land near the core of the Virex hive world. Once there, Elias would activate the resonance beacon, a device built using ancient alien tech found near his cocoon. It was designed to amplify his mental signal and send it across the entire Virex network. But first, they had to survive getting there. The CSS Aegis dove into the swarm. Lasers flashed. Explosions lit the void. The ship twisted and turned through enemy fire. Rhea held the controls tight. Hold on, she shouted. The ship took a direct hit. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the cabin. Then everything went black. When Elias opened his eyes, he was still alive. The ship had crashed. Smoke rose from broken panels. People groaned as they came to. He looked around. We made it, he said. Barely. The team pulled themselves together. Outside, the world was wrong. Sky red, ground covered in smooth, living flesh. Towers stretched into the clouds, pulsing like veins. This wasn't just a planet, it was a living machine. The Virex core world. Malik whispered. Elias stepped forward. We go now, he said, before they find us. They moved fast, through tunnels that breathed, over bridges that shifted beneath their feet. Every step brought them closer to the heart of the hive. but the Virex knew they were here. Soon, the first wave came. Thin, tall figures emerged from the walls, eyes glowing, no mouths, no mercy. They attacked without sound. Elias raised his hand. A pulse of thought left him, strong and sharp, like a voice in the dark. The Virex slowed. One stopped completely, its head tilted. Then it fell to its knees. "What did you do?" Rhea asked. "I reminded it what it used to be," Elias said. More enemies came. Elias sent the same signal again. And again. Some fell. Some ran. Some stared at their hands like they'd never seen them before. "You're turning them," Malik said. "No," Elias said. "I'm waking them up." As they moved deeper, something changed. The air grew heavier. Not with heat, but with thought. Like the planet itself was thinking, Elias felt it. His mind buzzed. "This is it," he said. The center. They reached a massive chamber. At its heart, a tower pulsed with light. Wires like veins wrapped around it, and above, a faceless being floated, tall, cold, and watching. The Virex Queen. She, or it, spoke without sound. Should not have returned. Elias stepped forward. "I had to," he said, "because this war ends today." The Queen raised a hand, and the room exploded with pain. Elias collapsed. His mind burned, thoughts ripped apart, memories stolen. He saw flashes, earth burning, friends screaming, his own body falling. But then another memory rose. His mother's voice. "Be brave, Elias." His father's hands teaching him how to fly. His sister's laugh, his own choice to fight. The Queen tried to overwrite him, to take control. But Elias fought back. With every memory, he pushed harder. He remembered Earth. He remembered freedom. He remembered being human, and he shared it, all of it, every feeling, every moment, every choice. He flooded the Virex network with humanity. Outside, the team watched the screens. The Virex began to fall. Not dead, changed. Ships stopped fighting. Turned around, began defending. Soldiers dropped their weapons, looked at each other, spoke names they had forgotten. On the battlefield, a new war began, not between humans and Virex, but within the Virex themselves. Freedom had entered their minds, and, once it did, it could never be taken back. Back inside the chamber, Elias screamed. The Queen was stronger than anything he had ever faced. She clawed at his thoughts, trying to erase him, but Elias held on. He reached for the beacon. Malik rushed forward, carrying it. "Take it!" he shouted. Elias grabbed it, and with one final push, he activated the signal. A wave of light burst from the tower, across the sky, across the stars, across the galaxy. The resonance beacon was awake, and so was humanity's hope. Far away, on distant worlds, people felt it. A whisper in their minds, a song, a memory, a name, and those who had been lost to the Virex. They remembered who they were, and they chose to fight back. The signal spread like fire across the stars. From the edge of human space to the deepest Virex colonies, the resonance beacon pulsed with a single message, not of war, but of memory. It carried music from Earth's past, symphonies, songs, laughter. It carried stories of love, pain, joy, and loss. It carried everything that made humanity human. And for the first time in centuries, the Virex felt something they had never known. Choice. Inside the core chamber, Elias Vance collapsed to his knees. His body trembled. His mind burned. The Queen of the Virex loomed over him, her form flickering like a broken light. "You do not understand," she whispered into his thoughts. "We are unity, perfection. You have destroyed us." Elias looked up. His voice was weak but steady. "No," he said. "I gave you back what you lost." The Queen hesitated. Then slowly she fell. Her glowing eyes dimmed. Her body crumbled into soft light, vanishing into the air. The chamber went silent. Elias closed his eyes, and then he passed out. When he woke, he was on the CSS Aegis when floating above the dying hive world. Captain Rhea Kale sat beside him watching. "You did it," she said. Elias blinked. "Did I?" She nodded. "The Virex are breaking apart," she explained. "Some are gone. Some are running. But some," she smiled, "some are waking up, like people." Elias sat up slowly. "What about the others?" he asked. Rhea pointed behind him. Dr. Malik stood near the window, looking at the stars. Other crew members moved through the ship, tired but alive. "We made it," she said. "Thanks to you." Elias looked out the window. Below them, the once living planet cracked open. Without the Queen, the hive structure collapsed. The Virex network shattered. But across the galaxy, something new was rising: freedom. Back on EOS Station, news spread fast. The Virex were no longer a threat. Not all of them, anyway. Ships that once attacked now protected. Soldiers who once obeyed without question now spoke names they had forgotten. On a colony world called Tarsus Prime, a former Virex drone dropped to its knees before a group of humans. "I was not born," it said. "I was made, but now I am free." A child stepped forward and took its hand. "You can stay here," the child said, "if you want." The Virex being looked down, and for the first time it smiled. Weeks later, Elias stood on Earth. Not the Earth he remembered, but one built by the descendants of those who had left it long ago. He walked through a city filled with lights, voices, and life. People stared at him, recognizing his name but not truly knowing who he was. He didn't mind. He wasn't here for fame. He was here to remind. At a public ceremony, the Galactic Union honored him. They offered medals, titles, even a place among their leaders. Elias refused them all. Instead, he stepped up to the microphone and spoke to the crowd. "I was asleep for 300 years, he said, locked away in a cocoon, waiting for a war I thought was over. He looked out at the people, but when I woke up, he continued, I found that we were still fighting, still losing. And I realized something." He paused. "We don't need more weapons," he said. "We need to remember who we are." He looked at a young boy in the front row. "Humanity is not perfect," Elias said. "We argue, we fight, we make mistakes, but that's what makes us strong." He smiled. "We think for ourselves. We feel. We dream." He raised his voice so everyone could hear. "And that is something no enemy can ever take from us." Silence followed. Then came the applause. Loud, proud, human. That night, Elias stood alone on a hill outside the city. He looked up at the stars. They twinkled like old friends. Behind him, Rhea joined him. "They loved your speech," she said. "I didn't give it for them," Elias replied. She looked at him. "For who then?" "For the next one," he said. Rhea frowned. "The next one?" Elias nodded. "There will be another war," he said. "Another enemy. Another time when we'll forget who we are." He turned to her. "And when that day comes," he said, "someone will need to wake up again." Rhea studied his face. "You really believe that?" Elias smiled. "I know it. Far away, deep in uncharted space, something stirred. A cocoon, hidden inside a dead moon, began to glow. Its surface shimmered. And from within, a voice whispered, 'Prepare.